Okay, we'll go ahead and begin. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I know time is at a premium, so we genuinely appreciate you giving us 30 minutes out of your calendar to listen to some information about AI. So today's topic is, what is AI? My name is Kimberly. I'm the Chief Business Officer here at Summit, and I'm joined by my co-host, Sayori Velasco, who is our web designer, our marketing content guru, and overall our AI super user in the company. We're going to tag team today to get you up to speed on AI. So we work with businesses like yours every day on technology strategy. And for the past couple of years, almost every conversation we get into goes back to the same topic, and that is AI and what is AI. It's in the news, it's in your email, your employees are talking about it. And if you're like most leaders I talk to, you're somewhere in between genuinely curious and maybe even a little tired of hearing about it. At the same time, AI is no longer an experiment. In fact, 75% of businesses are already using AI in at least one function without any formal oversight or strategy in place. So today we want to do something a little different. We're not here to sell you anything. We're not here to sell you on AI. We're not going to throw buzzwords at you. What we want to do is give you a clear, practical foundation so that when you leave here, you understand what AI actually is, what it isn't, and where it realistically fits in a business like yours. Remember, this is part one of a two-part series. Here's what we're going to cover in the next 30 minutes. So today we are laying the foundation. We're going to define AI in plain business terms. We'll walk you through the four types of AI you'll actually encounter, and we'll talk honestly about the risks, because there are risks. And then we'll show you where AI is already showing up across different areas of business. What this is not a coding class. It's not a technical, deep technical session, and it's definitely not science fiction. So let's talk a little bit about AI. Global AI spending is projected to reach about 2.5 trillion in 2026. That's a 44% jump in just 1 year, showing how fast this technology is actually accelerating. And if you include 2025 and 2026 together, you're looking at roughly $4 to $5 trillion in total AI spending over 2 years. So further statistics just to hammer home that AI is no longer just an experiment. It's more mainstream than ever. And everything we're talking about today already exists, and it's being used by organizations your size. Okay, so let's get into it. AI. The most important thing I'm going to say today, if you take away nothing, if this clicks, everything else will make sense. AI is software that performs tasks that would normally require human intelligence. That's it. That's the whole shebang. It's not a robot. It's not a brain in a computer. It's software. It's code that has been trained to do things that we used to need a human to do. Reading a document, pulling out key information, taking notes in a meeting for you, spotting an unusual pattern in your financial data, writing a first draft of something. When you strip away all the hype, that's really what we're talking about. So AI does work through four core capabilities, and I want to walk you through these very quickly because this is really the foundation, and this will map you directly into how AI is being used in business. The first, AI learns from data. It learns from data that's already there. Unlike traditional software that follows rules that you program in, AI improves over time by processing examples. You feed it thousands of invoices, and then it learns what a normal invoice looks like. You feed it years of support tickets, and it learns how to route them. Second, AI recognizes patterns. This is where AI really earns its keep. It can spot something unusual or an anomaly in a set of data, a suspicious transaction, a customer who's at risk at leaving, anything that doesn't match the norm. And it can do this faster and more consistently than any human analyst, providing you with valuable business intelligence. Third, AI makes predictions based on historical patterns AI can forecast what's likely to happen next, which deals are likely to close, insight into spending trends for specific geographic locations, which employees might be struggling before they've even said a word. Again, business intelligence you can use in order to make better business decisions. And fourth, AI creates content. This can be the one that most people have experienced directly. I mean, think about like ChatGPT. It can write, it can summarize, it can draft, it can produce a first version of almost any document faster than any junior employee could. Now, you've probably heard terms like machine learning and generative AI thrown around. Let me give you a two-sentence synopsis of each. Machine learning is the foundation. It's the underlying approach that lets software learn from data rather than just follow instructions. It's been around for decades and it powers things like your email spam filter and your credit card fraud detection. Machine learning is how AI recognizes patterns. Now, generative AI is the current wave, and it's the reason that AI is suddenly everywhere. Instead of just analyzing or classifying things, it actually creates new things. Text, images, summaries, code. It's ChatGPT from OpenAI, or it's Claude from Anthropic, or Google has Gemini, Copilot from Microsoft. These are all generative AI products, and they're built on massive models trained on enormous amounts of data. The good news is you don't need to understand how any of these work under the hood. What matters is understanding what they can do, and we're going to get you there. So now we have shared the definition of what AI is. I'm going to hand it over to Say to walk you through the 4 types of AI businesses encounter, because this is where it starts to feel real. Say?
Thank you, Kim. So, we are going to take a look at the 4 types of AI that businesses encounter. The first one we're going to take a look at is automation AI, and this is probably the most immediately practical for most of the businesses in this room. Automation AI handles the repetitive, rules-based work that your team is currently doing by hand. Think about the tasks that happen dozens or hundreds of times a week that require a human to look at something, make a simple judgment call, and move it along. For example, there's invoice processing. An employee has to open the email, read the invoice, check it against a PO, and route it for approval. That whole workflow can be handled by AI accurately, instantly, and without a human having to touch it unless there's an exception. The next is service ticket routing. This is huge. When a customer or an employee submits a support request, someone has to read it, categorize it, and send it to the right person. AI is able to do that triage automatically, routing tickets to the right queue in a matter of seconds. The business case here is almost always the same. Time saved, errors reduced, and your people freed up to do the work that actually requires human judgment. Second is predictive AI. This is AI that looks at what has happened in the past to tell you what's likely to happen next. Sales teams use this for forecasting. Instead of a rep manually having to update a spreadsheet with their gut feeling on which deals are going to close, AI can actually analyze deal history, communication patterns, and engagement signals to give you a probability score. Now, that's a much better foundation for a pipeline conversation. Here's how it works in real life, something you've probably experienced yourself. Companies like a subscription service or retailer use AI to analyze patterns in customer behavior. You could look at decreased engagement, fewer purchases, changes in buying habits. The AI model compares these patterns against historical data and identifies customers who are likely to leave soon. Instead of reacting after a customer is gone, the company is able to act before it happens. They can send targeted offers or trigger outreach from their support team. For example, in healthcare, AI can help predict what patients are at risk of complications. With streaming services like Netflix or Spotify, AI will predict what you want to watch or listen to next. In retail like Amazon, AI helps anticipate what kind of products you're likely to buy. The value of predictive AI is that it shifts you from reactive to proactive. You're not responding to the problems after they happen. You're able to see them coming. Third, conversational AI. This is the category most people have interacted with personally, even if you didn't realize it. At the consumer level, it's the chatbot on a website that answers questions before you can get to a human. But internally, it's even more powerful. Imagine your employees having access to an internal AI assistant that knows your company's HR policies, your IT procedures, your onboarding documents. Instead of having to email HR to ask how many PTO days they have left or having to submit a ticket to ask how to connect to the VPN, they just ask and they get an accurate answer instantly at any hour. It's not science fiction. Businesses are actually able to deploy this right now, and the ROI shows up in two places: reduce load on your support staff and faster resolution time for your employees. And the fourth type, the one you've probably heard about the most, generative AI. This is the category that creates the content. And while it's gotten a lot of press because of tools like ChatGPT, the business use cases are actually more practical than the headlines might suggest. You could do things like policy drafts. Your HR team needs to update the employee handbook. Instead of starting from a blank page, AI can generate the solid first draft in minutes based on your industry, your size, and your existing materials. Your team's job becomes reviewing and refining instead of having to build from scratch. Then there's marketing content. AI can take care of blog posts, social copy, email campaigns. AI is able to produce high quality first drafts at a fraction of the time and the cost. Then there's executive summaries. If your leadership team is drowning in long reports, AI is able to take a 40-page document and produce a 2-page summary with key takeaways. It can sit alongside your teams and your meetings and take notes, delivering a summary and action items for you and the team at the end. That's time back at the top of your organization. So the consistent theme here is the same. AI handles the heavy lifting of a first draft. Your people bring the judgment, the voice, and the final call. And for many organizations, it's less about replacing roles and more about upskilling your team. You're able to give them tools that make them faster, more informed, and more effective in the work they're already doing. So those are just four main ways AI is showing up in businesses today. But everything we talked about comes with trade-offs. And this is where a lot of organizations can get into trouble if they don't approach it correctly. Kim is going to take us through a walk of what AI is not and where the real risks are. Kim?
So AI sounds like a dream, right? Sounds like a dream. I had to make sure I wasn't muted. But AI has some drawbacks. It's not sentient. Let's start with something that sounds obvious, but it's worth saying it out loud. AI does not think, it does not feel, it has no awareness to itself or of you. A careful way to explain it. AI is like autocomplete on steroids, right? Your phone suggests the next word in a sentence. AI does the same thing, but with vastly more data to pull from and complexity. It sounds human, but it's just predicting what comes next. It's very funny. I just had a conversation with my Alexa before I came down here to do this call, and I marveled at how she sounds like a real person, but I know she's just AI. AI have no thoughts, no feelings, no awareness. AI doesn't know anything. It just calculates what's most likely to sound right. So when ChatGPT writes something that sounds thoughtful or empathetic, it's not because it understands you. It's because it was trained on an enormous amount of human writing, and it's producing a statistically likely continuation of the text that it gave you. This matters because it shapes how you use it. You can leverage AI's output, but you need humans at the top of the loop to apply judgment, context, and accountability. AI doesn't have any of these things. It may feel sentient, but this is worth addressing because it's where the confusion comes from. AI does use natural language like a human. It remembers context in a conversation. It can explain, summarize, and even tell a joke. But all of that comes from training on massive data sets and learning patterns in human communication, not from having a mind. AI is also not always correct. And this one really matters from a risk standpoint. In fact, AI systems can confidently produce information that's completely fabricated. We've all seen news organizations from the Wall Street Journal to the New York Times retract and revise articles that were generated by AI. The term for this is hallucination. The AI model doesn't know what it doesn't know. So when it doesn't have the right answer or an answer at all, it just makes one up and it presents it with that same confident tone that it uses when it's right. So this means that any AI generated output that will be used, particularly to make a decision or sent to a client or published anywhere, needs human review, full stop. AI is a powerful first draft tool, not a final authority tool. It's like a very confident employee who doesn't know the answer, but makes one up instead of saying, I'm just not sure or I don't know. Third, AI is not a replacement for leadership. And I say this not to just be reassuring, it's structurally true. AI can analyze the past, it can generate options, it can surface patterns you may have missed, but it cannot weigh competing priorities in a real organization. It cannot read the room. It cannot be held for a business outcome. The leaders who use AI best are the ones who understand that it's a very capable tool, but it's not an autonomous actor. You are still the one calling the shots. And fourth, and this is the one I save for last because it's so operationally important for all business. AI is not secure by default. Like any technology, it depends on how it's built, how it's configured, and how it's used. When your employees start using AI tools, and they already are, whether you know it or not, they're often pasting company data into systems you haven't evaluated, servers that you do not control, under terms of service that your legal team has not reviewed. And depending on the tool and how it's configured, that data may be stored, processed, or even used to improve the system over time. That's where the large amounts of data that AI is scanning comes from a lot from user input, which means information that was meant to stay inside of your organization is now outside of your control. Now, when that kind of usage starts happening across a team without any visibility or guardrails, it creates a pattern. That pattern is called shadow AI, and it's one of the fastest growing data governance risks that we see right now. Now, what is data governance? Data governance is a set of rules and controls that define who can access data, how it can be used, and where it's allowed to go. Think about data governance like in your folders that you have in your network infrastructure. Some people can access financial folders. Some people can access HR folders. That's data governance. So if you don't have data governance for AI, don't be surprised if a junior employee accesses HR data, salary information that you have, or that sales spreadsheet that has a hidden tab with all the internal pricing. This isn't a reason to avoid AI, but it is a reason to approach it with a plan. And helping businesses build that plan thoughtfully, practically, without overcomplicating it, that is exactly what we do. You can reduce risk while using AI by controlling what data is entered into AI tools. Using enterprise-grade AI platforms, you really should be paying for your tools. I know there's a lot of free ones out there, but you really should be paying for your tools. Implementing access control and monitoring, keeping a human in the loop for important decisions, and training your staff on safe AI usage. So now that I've brought the doom and gloom and talked about all the risks, let's make this practical again. Sayori is going to walk you through where AI is actually showing up across different parts of the business.
Okay, so
You're up.
I'm going to take us through a walk of where AI can show up in your business. I'm going to do a quick tour by department and give you an example, one per position, not because it's all that's possible, but because I want to give you anchors to think from. So let's start with leadership. Leadership. Your executive team is buried in information. AI is able to read through long reports, earning calls, competitive research, and board materials, and hand you that two-page summary with the key points flagged that we've been talking about. It allows you to make better informed decisions in a fraction of the time. Next, sales and marketing. AI is able to help your sales team personalize outreach at scale. No more generic email blasts that make people think you're spam. It's able to enrich your CRM with data your reps don't have time to enter manually. And on the marketing side, it can produce campaign content, ad copy, and email sequences that your team can then review and refine. Next, operations. Here's where we can think about every repetitive back office task: invoice matching, vendor communication, exception handling, status updates. AI can handle the first pass on all of it, bringing to the surface only the exceptions that actually need your human attention. Next, IT and security. This is where we live. This is our favorite. The AI applications here are significant. There's automated threat detection, ticket triage and routing, anomaly flagging and user behavior. AI is not meant to replace your team here, but it does make them dramatically faster and more effective. After all, AI doesn't have to sleep, so it can watch at all times. Then there's HR. You can write job descriptions, summarize candidate applications, generate onboarding materials and training content. Your HR team spends a lot of time on first draft work. AI is able to take a meaningful piece of that off of their plate. So, across all of those areas, the pattern is the same. AI handles the volume, and your people handle the judgment. And with that, I will hand it over back to Kim to wrap us up and talk about next steps.
Thank you. So here's where we'll leave you. AI is real and it's here to stay. The applications are practical, the risks are manageable if you approach this thoughtfully. And the businesses that are building a plan, a roadmap now for AI, not just reacting to the next tool that lands in someone's inbox, those businesses are going to have the real advantage. You don't need to have all the answers today, but I would encourage you to at least start asking the right questions. What tasks in your organization are the most repetitive? What data do you have that you're not fully using? Data that could be analyzed by AI to provide that valuable business intelligence. And remember, the business intelligence just helps you make better decisions. These are the places, the easy wins, that AI tends to have the biggest impact. We work with businesses every day to answer exactly those questions, not just in a theoretical way, but in a very practical, here's what it looks like for your industry, your team size, and your budget kind of way. So if you think today was useful, if even one thing we covered gave you a clearer picture or sparked a question you hadn't thought to ask before, then we'd love to continue the conversation. We are offering a complimentary 30-minute AI readiness conversation. No pitch, no commitment, just a focused conversation about what AI integration could look like specifically for your organization, where the quick wins are, where the risks are, and what a realistic starting point looks like. Even if you start small, you're still starting. So if you have questions, please schedule a conversation with us. You'll find the scheduling link in the chat and in the follow-up email that you'll receive later today. You will also receive an AI opportunity checklist that you can download. This is a simple reference guide that you can take back to your team. This is a great way to start that conversation, a great springboard for ways that you can use AI in various areas of your business. Some quick wins that you can look into and probably get started in short order. And don't forget to make sure to sign up for part 2 of our webinar series on Tuesday, April 14th at 1 p.m. Eastern. The sign up link is in the chat, but if you miss it, that will be in the follow-up email as well. Now, the Part two is a little bit different. We drill in. So this was more informative. I know as the amount of water I've been taking in, we've been talking for a long time, but we really wanted to lay the foundation and educate you on what AI is so that when we zip into the second phase where we're actually showing you some magic tricks, that you understand where all of this is coming from. So today was really a high level. So in part two, we will show you some real examples, some useful prompts you can use, and what an implementation would look like, where the rubber really meets the road. We'll show you AI in action. Remember, these webinars are designed to get you thinking about AI and where you can start. So thank you so much for your time today and you were looking for. Thank you, everyone. Take care.